POC Network here with another unboxing, this time coming from ECOVACS Robotics. And this is the Deebot Ozmo 930 robotic vacuum cleaner. And it so far is pretty cool. So we've actually seen this thing in action at CES 2019, and it's a pretty cool little robot. And it competes pretty well. In fact, most of their models compete really well. That's what's really allowed them to rise up and become a big player in the industry. But they compete well with one of the other top players, which we won't mention their name, but everybody's heard of their name at one point or another. And this is one of their latest-ish models, one of their top models, in fact. And they have a new version coming out called the 960, which is going to have so many other cool features, the ability to identify objects and stuff, but that's coming soon. For now, this is a really super smart vacuum cleaner for your house. Robotic one, you know, it has a little charger, it leaves it and cleans your house, it maps everything out, it remembers where it's been and the objects it's bumped into, so it knows to avoid them and things like that, and it knows how to go back and recharge itself. It's a pretty cool bot, but it goes beyond that even because it identifies things like it knows the differences in your floors, knows the difference between a hard floor and a carpet and everything. It not only vacuums, it can mop as well, and when it's in mop mode, which you have to manually go into, which they're all like that, you have to manually set up for mop mode, it'll purposely avoid carpets to make sure that the carpets aren't actually getting wet, because you don't want to drag a bunch of water over your carpet. And on top of that, you can actually in the app create zones and be like, all right, here's the living room, here's the dining room. It actually creates zones itself to begin with. It actually separates everything out, which is really cool. And then you can really dial it in to get your own customization going in your home. So that way you can just pull it out and say, go clean the dining room. Pretty cool, right? It has the ability to schedule, you know, how many or when and how often you want it to clean. And it has stair protection and all that other fun stuff. But for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open it up. I'm gonna show you what's inside the box. You go to the website later on at POCnetwork.net, we'll have the full review on this later on and tell you what we think, because we're gonna test the daylights out of this thing and let you know, do we like it? You know, did it fail? Did it blow up? Did it kill anything? Did it fall down the stairs? Did it jump out a window? Or did it simply just work? Which we're kind of expecting it to do. But like I said, for now, we're gonna open it up and see what's inside the box. So they make it really easy, which is nice, to open up the box. They don't have anything to cut or anything like that. The plastic that protects the little latch here, they have a little peel tab and it just comes right off and pops open while you do it. Ooh, and it rips the box apparently too. Whoa, let's take it down this way. You have a neat compartmental kind of approach here. The first little section here, you have your instructional stuff. You're definitely going to want to read the guide this time. But you have a little kind of a fold out that just talks about the app and some general things. This is a quick start guide. And shows you where to put or to how to hook up the charging station and all that fun stuff and get started, download the app, etc. What to peel off of it for packaging protection and all that. You have tips and tricks, which on one side is in Chinese, and the front side is in English. You have different points. Keep calm and don't slip. I can be fooled as well. Don't get me lost. Sky is not the limit, water is. Some simple points. You have a limited warranty information here, and you have this really thick manual, but thankfully it's in multiple languages as well, so you won't have to worry about it. Tons and tons of different languages here. French Canadian, Spanish. So, moving on. You have an accessory box here. Let's see what's inside door number 2. You have some stuff. This looks like just something that's going to click onto the bottom. You have what looks like a HEPA filter. HEPA filter. You have one of the, or 2 of the brush wheels. Little things are, I guess you call them wheels or propeller things that spin around and clean as it goes. You have this, which is some kind of a cloth thing, which is probably for something you attach for when you're mopping. And we'll flip this lid here, and you have, it just says open, and then this comes out, which looks like another piece. So that's what it is actually. It is for mopping, and there's a little Velcro thing to put it on. It just slides over this, and you hook it to the robot with. This is an extra replacement pad, and it does look like they're both machine washable, if I had to guess. And then you have the bot. It's neatly wrapped in a cloth here to prevent scratches and all of that. You gotta be careful since you got this top piece that sticks out. I believe that is what makes it smart. And there is the robot. And we got more. A little section here that pops out, and you have additional little blades here. I believe that's it for this section. This is just packing material. And now we can finally get to this, which looks to be like the charging station. You have a wall plug here to plug it into the wall with, and a neat little thing. You can actually wrap it around on the inside to shorten the cable up, so if you don't want a bunch of cables sticking out between this and wherever you have it plugged in. This is what we really want to look at, the robot itself. We have like I said, this little top piece on the top here. This is what gives it its smarts, allows it to see around itself, the connectivity and all that fun stuff. You have a little sheet of paper here that says, whatever you do, don't rip it out like I just did. Just kidding. It tells you press auto button once, start or pause. That's right there. And press and hold auto button for 3 seconds to manually tell it to send it back to the docking station. So if you want to chase after it and walk with it holding the button, I guess. Of course, you can use the app. You don't have to chase it down manually. And you have this little piece of foam that comes out. It even has a little arrow here. There's also a little quick start guide saying, hey, remove this. And there you go. The bottom side of the robot has, you have this little 360-degree wheel here. You have the normal wheels here. They move up and down, to be able to adapt to whatever surface it's on. You have everything that's modular, which is really nice. They've made this so that you can get to everything, for the most part, easily. You can also replace different pieces really easily by just pressing a single button. This comes right out. You can clean it out and everything. And then, of course, you have color coding here, where this is where you're going to install the little brushes that go underneath it. They just pop into place. I was actually going against color code. That was red to green, so that was my fault there. But this one will go here. The red one will go there. You have your compartment here on the back that allows you to get to the, if I can be smarter than that, you can get to the little compartment where you add water and stuff. You just pop this out, pour some water in there, and set it to mop mode, where it'll then start working at mopping hard floor surfaces. Let it be wood, tile, and all that. And what's really nice is it does do vacuuming and mopping at the same time. So what it'll do is, as it's moving around, it'll start vacuuming up the floor in the front section and start picking up any debris or anything like that you don't want around as you're trying to mop the floor normally. And the back side is mopping. And then what it does is it does its route. Once it's figured out it's mapped throughout your house, it'll do its job and then double back pretty much and make its way back to the charging unit. And you take this out, empty out the water, so forth. You should be able to get probably a good 20 minutes maybe, I would assume, out of the actual reservoir once it's connected. And so there might be a couple times you might have to rinse it or to empty it out as it's doing its thing. And I'm not sure if it'll actually go back, and go back to charging once it feels like the water's dirty or anything like that. But you might have to keep an eye on that. It does have this incredibly useful handle right here for carrying it around with, so you can just pick it up and walk away with it. This back end just kind of lifts right up and reveals the compartment inside. That is where all the debris go when it's vacuuming. To open that up, you just simply kind of pull back on this. This thing, the handle will pop up, and you just lift it right out. And that's your compartment. So this is where all your dust and crap's gonna be in, and you keep this empty. Obviously, you wanna empty this frequently. And on the back, you have there's that HEPA filter right there. So the one that's inside the box is actually a replacement filter, which is really cool. So there might be some replacement parts to worry about later on, but it's really minimal, which is good. Putting it back in is easy. You just kind of drop it in, make sure the handle's up, make sure everything kind of squeezes into place, push the handle down, everything's locked. There is a little brush here that you have, as well as this little cutting utility, and this is usually for cleaning the inside of it out, like the wheel that spins around. If you have cat hair or anything like that building up, you can slide this through the hair and it's gonna cut it. It's kind of like your universal seatbelt tool in your car. And then you have a power button here, which just turns it on. When you do that, it's obviously going to turn on, and the button, or the light lights up there on the button. We're gonna turn that off though for now. And and there is a little piece of rubber here we can lift away, and inside of it there's this little proprietary connector. Looks kind of like a Molex connector of some sort. Don't know what that's for. Maybe it'll be in the instructions. We'll have that in review. And then there's a mini USB connection in there as well. I believe that's mini USB, unless that's micro. That might be a micro USB connector. But that's going to be more than likely for updating firmware and things like that if it doesn't allow that from the app remotely. But simple, right? It's not terrible or anything like that. The thing is really easy to work with. This is the first time I've actually had my hands on it outside of CES, when we've all had a chance to take a look at it a little bit. But again, this is the 930 Deebot Ozmo from ECOVACS Robotics. And so far what we've seen with this vacuum is pretty cool. It does a really good job. It's super high tech, remembers where it's at, you know, bumps into things and says, okay, I've mapped you, I know you're here, I'm gonna leave you alone now. We're gonna have a full story about this later on at PLCnetwork.net once we've had a chance to really give it a good test and get to know it. And we'll let you know what we think. Do we like it? Do we not like it? And so forth, all that great stuff. And of course, later on, within so many months, I forget it is March, April, May, in the summer, I don't know, they're coming out with a new version of this called the 960, and that'll blow your mind even more. That actually has a camera on the front. So it has this, it has all this fancy positional yada yada that makes it an amazing robot vacuum, but it also has that camera where it's able to detect things. I didn't say that right. Detect things. So the new one will have tons of other features that are really cool as well. But for now, this one is pretty darn cool in itself. And I believe it's about $600 retail value, you know, so, you know, these, you know, robot vacuums get pretty pricey. And the other one, you know, even though it sounds pretty cool, it's probably gonna be a little bit more expensive than that. So it all depends on your budget, you know, maybe you'll wait for that one, maybe you'll go with this one. Either way, they're both gonna be really good vacuums probably. And I say probably only because we personally haven't taken the time out to test it with our own experience outside of, you know, a showroom floor. So PLCnetwork.net, that's where you'll be able to find all sorts of information about this once we have tested out and done a full review. So go check it out, keep an eye on it for when the review is posted. And for now, don't forget to subscribe. If you liked what you've seen here, hit that subscription button down there and follow us. We'd love to really just have this big posse of people following us around because, you know, who doesn't? And there's a comment section, so reach out, leave us a comment. We might actually reply back and respond. We do quite a bit, so use the comment section below. And as always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest, and or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.